Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this third day of July. Happy 4th, happy pre-4th. I know it's a Friday for a lot of people. Some people's working on 4th of July. I'll be driving Uber on the side. I'm off from my day job here. But anyways, got Mad New Yorker supposedly coming up here shortly. Going to talk. Listen, I didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday, but Jake Paul's ranked 14th after 14th ranked fighter in the world, recognized after beating Julio Cesar Chavez, who was arrested by ICE officials. So he's having junior. He's having a pretty bad month. Talk a little bit about that with the Mad New Yorker. Also, let's see. We had a few lists of things here, and I've lost track of. Jake Paul's we're gonna talk about him. And listen, folks, we'll get into the NBA trades and whatnot. Mike Brown's a big story. I want to ask about the Mad New Yorker with being the New York Knicks head coach, but also because hip hop coincides with the NBA, with sports in general. We're going to talk a little bit about the Diddy verdict and the P. Diddy trial. We're getting into summer. Want to veer into some other things here while we have times, because it's kind of a low here for the sports world. We'll get into that as well. But stand by. We'll take our first and only break, and hopefully I'll be back here with the Mad New Yorker here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, I'm back here live. Let me bring in the Mad New Yorker. Have a round of applause. Man, got a good crowd tonight as well. Mad New Yorker, how you doing, man? How's your Thursday going?
Good evening.
Really like a Friday.
It feels like a Friday. Look, thanks for having me on. Happy 4th weekend, everybody. Be safe. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. What we got today?
Woo! Okay, the New York Knicks have got a new head coach. It's Mike Brown. What's your thoughts about that? What do you think? You know, he did win 2-time Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
But he is a little bit, he's kind of been around the league for a little while. Could be worse, could be better. What's your thoughts, buddy?
So from reading different types of articles and reading about Brown and looking to see what he could help, how he could help the Knicks, it sounds as if he's a player's coach. So in that retrospect, and the way it sounds like the Knicks got the best coach available in the moment, as far as what they're looking to achieve, as far as changing a little bit of like the team management and being more approachable to team atmosphere. But I'm not sure if this is the right move. He's a very intelligent person. He's got an Army background. He's won in the playoffs. He's gotten teams to the playoffs. He hasn't won any championships yet, but I'm not sure what their goal is as far as keeping him, because they already said that it's the finals or bust for him. So yeah. I don't know if that was fair to even say that, knowing that
I think so. Yeah, I mean, you fire a guy like Thibodeau. This is very great. Grady Little, Mike. Terry Francona, from the Boston Red Sox back in 2004.
The only thing I see that there might be a disadvantage for Brown is the fact that this is New York and the media's the media's tough, and we the fans also feed the fire, right? We feed the fire of the media. So all he needs to do is go on a 10-game loses streak, and it's going to be crazy around here. So I myself would have preferred Mark Jackson or somebody. They talked even about maybe bringing Patrick Ewing in. I mean, there were so many names thrown out there.
Ewing he didn't do well with Georgetown. I don't know. I think Ewing's good just being kind of an ambassador kind of guy,
Well, he was part of the Orlando Magic bench. He's worked as an assistant for a few teams. I'm not saying that he should have been the coach
for a while. Yes, he has. Yeah,
I'm just saying that he'd
be a good assistant.
Yeah, I feel like if they would have brought Mark Jackson in, Ewing, and then maybe filtered it out with a few more assistants, and it would have been all right because they would have been able to keep Brunson. I don't know if Brunson stays either. So
really.
Brunson, as far as the coach, not the son.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So who knows? This is a mess. This is the way it is in New York, and it's annoying, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be a little bit more professional. It should be a little bit more. I feel like the culture and the way that they've been winning was enough to build something, and now that's like. They went from being the Knicks to the Nets to follow what the Jets do, just making a mess out of. And the worst thing is it's in the media, right? Like it's in the streets. People talk about it, so it's just I don't know. I'm okay with the pick. I was hoping for somebody else, but I'm not sure if this will make the team better because they went ahead and they made also some player moves, which I thought were. I don't know. I feel like they brought in Jordan Clarkson. He's an injury case. He's had hamstring problems. He's had feet problems. He just the last season with plantar fasciitis. I'm not saying he's a terrible player, but he's. We talked about this. If the Knicks are going in a certain direction, they need to be young. They need to stay young. Now they picked the French player Gershon Yabusele. He helped France win a tournament on a national team. He's a big guy. He can, beef up the roster a little bit, but and they gave some players they give them a couple more years on their contract. So I just I'm not sure if this is everybody's like has high hopes. I just think we should tone it down a little bit because another thing is that I don't know why, but it's like when the Knicks are going hot, the injury starts popping up, right? Injury cases start popping up. So we'll see. I'm not excited, but I feel like it could have gone worse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, but you're not out on them. You're not out on the Knicks. Do you still how competitive can they be? FanDuel says they're second odds behind only OKC to win the championship.
Yeah, I think that's way too high right now.
Where would you put them then? Who would you put them below? I would probably put them below Denver at this point.
Right. Yeah.
With maybe the moves Denver's made.
Yeah, I remember Denver, and on the East they'll probably come out. They could come out second or third in the East. I'm not.
Who would they be behind? Cleveland?
Maybe. Yeah, I think it'd be Cleveland, New York, and then Boston.
Boston's Tatum's probably not going to play the whole year.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
And they got rid of Drew Holiday, who I was trying to think of last week's show.
Yeah, I think Boston will be all right though. They have a core of young players that they can, kind of still bring in one or two more players still.
Okay.
So I think Boston will be a lot better than people think because they got rid of Porzingis and now they don't have to worry about trying to find when he's going to be in and how to use him and things like that. So. They'll be okay. And then I think Orlando and Boston are going to be the matchup for that playoff spot anyway. So, because Orlando and Detroit, I don't know.
I keep forgetting about Detroit. They're surging up.
Yeah, but I don't know if they can stay healthy. I don't know if they have enough depth. Right? We saw that when they played the Knicks. That if they can get you in the first 2 or 3 quarters, they and hold you.
Yeah.
They but they have to. I think they need about 2 or 3 more players as well. So.
Okay. Yeah, Orlando got Desmond Bane. They're going to be a real serious threat there to the Knicks. So, yeah, I think that is a little bit I don't know what FanDuel was thinking, to be honest with you, but they could come out of the East. They should be the favorite in the East, but you start talking about the West with Minnesota, with Denver, and definitely with OKC. You
I mean,
know,
I feel like they signed Anunoby and then Tyler Kolak. The Knicks did, and I just wanted that kid from Golden State.
Kuminga.
Yeah, I feel like we should have made a run for him. He would have came home.
Do you still think that's not on the table?
Well, they put money out. They have what, Shake Milton too, to a multi-year deal. I don't.
Okay,
man.
yeah, these are guys I have not heard. They didn't make a big splash move,
right? So I felt like if they would have got him, because he's unrestricted, so they would have to pay him a lot. But I would have went from him because you got youth, you got and then Golden State might end up keeping him to build off of him, because they got a lot of more older players, so he might end up staying in Golden State. But yeah, I like Kuminga, man. I don't know what it is about him. I don't,
get attracted to him. Well, I mean, it just there's something there with Steve Kerr. You bench him for a while, then you bring him back. He plays well. He's probably not, flowing with that team right. Maybe not be listening to directions in certain plays. I wonder because Steve Kerr never give you a straight answer.
Right. Well, I mean, he was a top 10 pick to begin with. I think he was 7 in the draft. He played well when they were on that run.
Yeah.
And then they hit a rut. And now the thing is, are you going to sign him for the amount of money that he wants and put him on the bench, or are you going to sign him and you make him a starter? I think that's the biggest thing with him is he's so young that you can't really start him and pay him that much money. It's all contractual. At the end of the day, it's about how the contracts worked out. We always it's kind of like that what's his name we talked about from UCLA, the guard that he's been on a lot of teams now. What's his name? He started at OKC. Can't remember.
Oh, Westbrook.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Westbrook situation, right? Like when we talked about last year, like what is he going to do? Is he going to start? Is he going to come off the bench?
Yeah. I think they figured it out at the end, but I don't know where he's going to play now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Kuminga's not, the difference is that Kuminga's young. He's not older. So, we'll see, man. He's a good kid. I think he needs to play on a different team. He might not come to New York, but if I'm the Bucks or if I'm one of those,
that would really throw things off. Oh man.
If I'm like a team that like has a little bit of money and wants to get, I like Kuminga because he's a competitor. Even though he sometimes got lost in the mix of things, I like his spirit. Like
Westbrook?
No, Kuminga.
Oh, Kuminga.
I think that he will be a fit in a lot of teams that are injury prone. Yeah, and that's almost half of the West. So
Yeah, maybe that could still happen. It's still early in the free agency. It just started. Damian Lillard, you talked about possible lockouts and stuff and issues with contracts. He got bought out. 20-something million. I want to say 23, stretched out over 5 years, $113 million contract to get rid of him. He's 35 years old. I said, you know what? Why sign these guys at that age to these long contracts? But they bring in Miles Turner. Does this make them competitive with Milwaukee? What do you think about them now? I thought it was a good move. A lot of people did not say it because they had to carry this. They had to carry about $50 million in cap.
Right.
Between Miles Turner and the dead money there for Damian Lillard. But if you really want to keep you honest, you're going to have to get some younger, healthy legs around him. And of course, Miles Turner is only 29 versus 35 in July the 15th. I love Damian Lillard. Who's giving these guys these contracts?
Man, I look, man, if you're one of them agents, bro, you like you're getting your money's worth, right? You're getting all these contracts and
do you think they're going to add some players and maybe they're the team in the East that we're kind of sleeping on? I do like that move, but I think they're probably 2 more short there.
I would have rather got Giddy from Chicago.
Who?
Giddy.
Josh Giddey. Oh, is he still out there? I think he's still out there as a free agent.
He's a free agent. I would have got him instead of Turner.
Well, you'd like to add him anyways if you can.
You because you can play with the money situation on him, right? He just got, his money situation was a lot easier than trying to pay Turner, bring Turner in. But
well, I mean, yeah, Damian Lillard was a guard. What do you think about that move? Would you try to do something else? Would you try to move Giannis, or would you try a move like that?
Yeah, well, it's hard to say because if you keep Giannis, because he's not that old. He's 32, right? 33.
But no, Giannis is 31.
31.
I'm talking about Lillard's 35 years old.
Yeah, you can't keep him, man. Then
Yeah.
There's not many.
Why did he have a 5 more year contract? Beats all I've ever seen.
They just, they got to match the contract because of his experience and what he's been able to, from the, how that is. He can't. So he's like a 5-time All-Star or something like that.
Yeah.
He's been in playoffs at least 4 times in his career.
Yeah.
Whatever his stats are.
Well, I mean, is that a competitive move for Milwaukee? What do you think?
I think it was good because what happens is they can bring in a couple players now. They don't they don't have to worry about the taxes and all that stuff. And if they move Giannis, then they can get 4 players in there for the price of one guy, right? Because
if they move Giannis, that's a whole different topic. Yeah.
So that was good for the Bucks in the sense of you gotta kind of follow what's going on right now, right? And the new wave is you got to be young and you got to be under the age of 32 average. So that's the Bucks got rid of a lot of older guys, and that's good for them. And it does hurt a little bit the consistency that they had as far as team, but it's always going to be like that, right? You're always going to be moving players. You're going to get new players in, players go away. So you might as well, shed the weight of the contracts, so
yeah.
So I feel like that was good. Buck fans are shaking in their knees, but it's a good move because it gives them space, right? It gives them
well, they got some more energy. I mean, the guy's been hurt. I like Lillard, but they said the first year he came in out of shape, then he gets banged up and hurt, then he gets hurt again. Part of ability is availability, and he's going to be 35 in July.
Well, the problem
it just hasn't worked in Milwaukee.
The problem is, again, we tend to forget as fans, we're watching these guys, but we tend to forget that the contract says that this max out player contract, this guy has to be starting such and such games, and he can't be coming off the bench. If he comes off the bench, it has to be because he's coming off of injury or because he's for some other reason that, or he's prone to injury and he can come off the bench. So some of these stipulations of the contract is what hurts these teams the ones that we don't know about. We're sitting there and we read some of these contracts.
You're saying the contracts are telling them they have to play these players certain ways?
Yes, it's set that way.
Where is the proof of that? I don't think is that in the contracts? I don't see any of that.
You have to play a certain amount of minutes. You have to be able to do certain. So these player representatives know that if you want to be an all-star, you have to play so many minutes and average so many points, right? So that means that you have to start. You can't come off the bench and do that, right? Starters get.
You're saying it's mandated in their contract?
What I'm saying is if they want to reach their goals as far as getting their full contract and guarantees, then they have to start. It's not for instance, Russell Westbrook, same thing, right? Max contract.
Yeah, but he comes off the bench now.
Now he does, right? But what team would have paid for him at a max contract? Because he don't have the max yet. He don't have the super max. Now he has a veteran. His contract is different now. His contract allows a team to make some moves.
I don't know if that was the case with. I just think Lillard. They thought that they're just not going to get enough out of his production
because he would be a start. He'd have to start and you'd have to play him so many minutes to make. And he's not going to sit down.
But I don't know if that's true though.
Well, if you get contracted,
I don't know if it's actually in the contract to say you have to play.
So players have to meet certain amount.
I know the contract's guaranteed.
No, not the contract. The initial, the signing bonus is guaranteed.
The NBA, if it wasn't guaranteed, they wouldn't be paying this guy 5 years for $23 million.
His max is a certain amount of it is guaranteed. Correct. His signing bonus is guaranteed. So there's stipulations in there that he had to meet to meet so many bonuses and like.
All I know is they're paying him $23 million to not be there, and to move a portion of that off their books. They're spreading his contract out. It's
Right.
really, we're getting deep in the weeds, but they're spreading it out so they could have brought in Turner.
Right.
In a desperation to keep Giannis is basically what this came with. I think if you're really head set on keeping Giannis, I think it's a great move. If you're not head set, which obviously they're not, they should have moved Giannis beforehand. So we'll see how it works out. I would like to see Giannis get another ring. I love watching Giannis.
Yeah, but
I don't know if they're going to be able to get the players, man. They need like 2 other players. Could they get a Giddey? That would be great. You know?
they need somebody to. They need.
Could you get a small forward that's a consistent scorer?
In the NBA, they're a dime a dozen, right? Like,
I don't know. Hold on 1 second. I put it on 71. I think I put it on 68. It's July here, and I forgot to adjust my temperature. Stand by. Be right back.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the Sharp Dressed Man and the Big Story Breaker, Robert Butler, on Sportscope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on that.
Mac is looking down on us. Thank you, Big Mac. I'm glad we're starting, we're not getting those cease and assist orders from McDonald's. I used to joke around with him and Jack about that. Anyways, sorry, folks. It's really hot this time of year, and I got this suit on and really the jacket, but still, it's just not good enough. What do you think about Michael Porter? This is something we talked about before. That will be a guy we'd move off of with Denver. Trading Michael Porter, get Cam Johnson from Brooklyn. With Bruce Brown. Bring Bruce Brown back now. I wasn't part of the trade.
right.
Was it Cam Johnson or Cam Thomas? I thought it was Cam Johnson, right?
I just know it's Cam. I don't know his last name.
Yeah. Well, he scores 18 points a game average. Very consistent. He's got the average there. Porter was not. A consistent player. I'm pretty excited for Cam Johnson. Yes. Yeah, small forward, 6'8", 18, 4, and 3. That Denver's good. Got Bruce Brown. Westbrook is not on the team. Westbrook's a double-edged sword. Probably err on the side. That's a good thing. They got rid of Michael Porter Jr., dead weight there, got a good player. Maybe add another bench player. That Bruce Brown, bringing him back, that's a good one. Can you get one more somewhere else? Been nice if they could have got D'Angelo Russell. He goes to Dallas, which we talked about last week as well.
No, but you don't want.
They got a shot to win the championship, man. They could get back in it, man. What do you think about Denver?
I think Denver's like holding off, and they're trying to see what kind of younger players they can get, just for speed. Just get speed and availability. And also to help with the contracts, because the older you are, and if you're better, you're a bigger contract, and they don't want to just be sacrificing contracts and then not getting players that are going to be there, and it's tough right now, and that's a team that is being patient with what's going to happen. I'm sure they're probably even looking to see what's going on in the developmental league, maybe pick up a couple players from there.
Yeah.
They have 2 good players there, and they just need to stay young, and have guys there that can run, that can stay healthy, and be available. One of the biggest issues they had was the injury bug over there, and especially after the 80 games, right? When it came to playoff time, they couldn't.
Well, Murray in the past, that was his big issue.
Right.
Jamal Murray was getting hurt a lot.
Yeah, but
knock on wood, he stayed healthy the last few years.
He did this season. He was able to stay healthy, but the other guys, the depth didn't have this year because of the injuries. So
depth was their big issue.
Yeah, I want to see them just kind of move and get. Look, I like to see this trend, and not that I don't like the older players. It's just, but like this trend of the young guys coming in and picking up and you know and showing that their NBA caliber players is good.
Yeah.
And it makes for a better game when you have slowed down the game because you have older veterans there that are injury prone, aka formerly known the Phoenix Suns. That was tough. That was tough to watch. You know, you had like Booker, who's young. You had like a couple young players, and then everybody else was like over the age of 30, 32, 33.
Yeah, that is a real thing, man. The definition of insanity is making the same mistake over and expect a different result. Guys like Durant, and we mentioned Lillard, and you just, you know, once you get over, my guess is 33. I said this a few days ago. You got to do 1 to 2 year contracts, you know, preferably one after 33. I know LeBron's an outlier and Steph, but we're talking 3 or 4 players out of a league, you know, post 33. I mean, you're right about that lockout thing, man. Maybe they should have one and get this stuff squared away.
And that's gonna that one that's coming, I believe it's the 26-27 season. Is that right?
Oh, I'm not sure.
27-28 season. Well, whenever
well, that's not too far away. It's 25 now.
Whenever it comes, it's gonna be painful for the older players. It's probably gonna force some guys to retire quicker than they want. But then again, you have to. The game has to stay relevant and it has to stay fresh, right? So, but the one thing that we're not getting is the quality of the younger players coming in. Either they're lacking like basketball vision, or they're lacking stamina, or they're lacking both, and they're giving a lot of these young kids huge contracts, and they haven't. Not that they haven't earned it, but what they're getting paid and what you're seeing on the court is not coming. You know, we're not staying up all night to watch all these games on the West Coast here in the East, right? You're not gonna stay up all night and watch Lakers or watch Denver games if
Does Ayton put them over the top? DeAndre Ayton
for the Lakers, I feel like that's a team that's gonna be like the Phoenix Suns. They got 3 young guys, and then everybody else is over the age of 30, and you know, and they're gonna fall to the whole injury bug, and it's gonna be they're a playoff contention team, but I don't know if they have enough depth to keep them so viable.
Everything depends on Luka being in shape, ready to go. LeBron, you could pencil in he's going to play about 40-something games, maybe 50 if he's lucky, you know. Oh. But I think LeBron can work with Ayton. I think, you know, I kind of wrote off Anthony Davis, and then when he played with LeBron, really helped him out, man. Resurrect his career.
What Ayton does is allows LeBron to be like he's always been, like in the last 3 seasons he's been like a defensive hazard, like Ayton allows LeBron to be able to be more flexible and not have to depend on defense because he's there.
Right. And he loves that, especially at his age.
Right, and Ayton likes the fact that he doesn't have to shoot up 20 shots. You know, he can just be there and play defense, and you know, and he can shoot. He's okay. He's not a bad player, but you don't have to depend on him for 20 points.
Yeah,
but he still should try to get 15. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think between 2 good passers like LeBron, and I hate to say this, I don't like the Lakers, but between LeBron and Luka, I think he's going to get some good looks underneath the basket, and he should be counting his blessings right now. You know,
he's definitely going to be about 15 plus a game.
Oh, he get double in his sleep. You know, he plays well when he sets his mind to it. I've seen it.
Yeah, I feel like the offensive rebound, he has a lot more opportunity to be able to reach 15 to 20 points a game, easy. But again, there's some games where he's just like he'll just disappear, and it's most of the time I wouldn't say it's not his fault, but most of the time it's the fact that they're not moving the ball inside because he's not carrying to score 28 points a game. You know, he wasn't that kind of big guy. But now that you got Luka and LeBron and they can just go back and forth to each other, he's going to be open. He can take a little quick shot. There's nobody's going to double team him. So
yeah, that's true. They are a team to keep an eye on. they may pick up another player or two between now and the start of the season. Pretty interesting story I didn't get to the other day. I think it just came out like early this week. Jake Paul, he beats Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. God, I remember his dad. He used to fight when we were kids.
Yeah.
Kind of having a bad month. He gets in trouble with Cesar Chavez Jr. He loses to Jake Paul. Now he's had some kind of Mexican warrant on him, and ICE deported him. So bad run there for Chavez Jr. But Jake Paul's ranked 14th, man. What's your thoughts about that? Did you see this coming? A lot of people saw him as kind of a sideshow.
Yeah, so I feel like, and we talked about that before about him and some of the fights that he's been, but if he's fighting, you have to take that to account. He's in the ring. Other guys have the opportunity also to be in the ring. He's doing what he's doing. He's winning. You can't fault him for that.
No. Who
he's fighting is the people who, like, are agreeing to get in a fight with him. Like, it's not like the what's this guy's name? It's not like Mayweather, where Mayweather said no to fights. It's the other way around. People don't want to fight Paul, and and they don't want to seem like it's gimme or gamey, but whatever. So,
right,
give the man credit. At least he's showing up to the ring and he's doing the training. He's trying.
He is doing the training. I think he's good with his hands, and I think he needs to step up and start fighting player. I know Chavez Jr. was older, late in the 30s, early 40s, whatever, pretty close to our age.
Right, yeah.
He needs to get his confidence up. And I was reading today, and I did some screenshots here. His only loss was to Tyson Fury's brother, who was like a novice fighter himself.
Right.
That's the only real blemish on the guy's record. He's fought pretty well, and he's a cruiserweight right now.
Right.
That's between 175 and 200. Do you think that he could now the top cruiserweight guy is this Jay Opeltia. He is currently the IBF ring cruiserweight champion, 28-0, 22 knockouts. Listen, I like Jake Paul. He's been a YouTube guy. He's in great shape, tip top, but he's also very cocky. He's also like Mayweather. You like to see somebody knock the crap out of him and kind of humble him a little bit. I wanted Tyson to do it, and he ended up beating up on Tyson, but there was some questions about that fight. Couldn't do uppercuts or whatever, and Tyson was questionable. But Paul needs to quit second guessing himself. If he gassed up a fight, would you pay to see this? Would you pay to see him fight a Jay Otella, or would you even one better? Who's the guy that beat Tyson Fury last year for the heavyweight champion? He's not too far because Tyson was a heavyweight. He beat Tyson. He's not too far from that heavyweight division. Would you pay to see it? I would pay $50 to see him really get clobbered, but that's just me. But that's good marketing, isn't it? Isn't it good marketing from the Paul camp?
Yeah, so if I'm Paul, I just go ahead and sign up for the next heavyweight fight available. Whatever he needs. because now you the only thing is that can he make weight and can he keep his weight
That's
up?
A big question.
Because he's so young, I still think he's burning through calories and muscle anyway. So it's
he has to be 200. Okay, yeah, he has to be 200. He's about 177. Can he put 23 pounds on and not lose any speed? I thought, what's he, 6'1", 6'2"? Yeah, I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it because we're old, but the problem is it's not putting on the weight. It's keeping the weight.
Yeah.
And being able to use.
We can do it because we're older. We ain't that. We're not Tyson's age. We're 43, 40.
Yeah, we're Julio Cesar Chavez anyway. But but I'm gonna get to him in a second. But I think that he should just sign up for that and just try it to see where he stands, what he can do as his first heavyweight fight, right? As far as being in that weight class. Because if he's
Yushek. So I want to see him fight Yushek.
because to be honest,
Usyk's a bad mother effer. He beat Fury twice.
I don't care who he fights as long as he tries to just get the net. Because the thing is, this is two things that you do if you're a boxer, right? Eventually, you know you're gonna have to fight more people, and cruiserweight is one of those that is tough to get. Anyways, it's tough to get guys because the young guys keep losing weight and falling under, and then the older guys keep gaining weight, and they have to, and they don't fight heavyweight because they don't want to match up with that. So right now he needs to just kind of gain weight and see if he can keep weight and see if he can be a heavyweight fighter, because those kind of fights anyway garner more viewership and more money anyway. So if that's something that he wants to do as a professional boxer, now he's got to start thinking as a professional boxer too. He's got to think about his health. He's got to think about all those things. And, if he's doing it for real and he says he is, and he's got to do what it takes to be a heavyweight because.
Yeah. And there's different belts. There's not an undisputed heavyweight.
Right. There's
this other guy that's Gilberto. And this would be a good, if he wouldn't tell me off, this would be a good opportunity to bring in Jack. What's his name? Jack Hirsch.
Yeah, Hirsch's good.
Bring Jack Hirsch in. And get him. The answer to my question, hopefully they would put it on Netflix, but would you pay to see this guy Ramirez, who was technically this Google AI saying that he can challenge Gilberto Ramirez. He's the WBA cruiserweight title guy. The other guy is the other belt. There's not one guy that's undisputed. Would you pay to see him fight Gilberto Ramirez?
I mean,
would you buy into the hype of it and get it at Jerry's World? I would.
I would pay the money to watch it, but I don't know if I do it because of hype. You do it because that's the next thing to watch, right? Boxing's almost become like UFC. It's like, okay, what's the next big title fight? And right now the culture is like, what's the next big title fight? And we'll get together and we'll watch it on pay-per-view, or we'll go to try to watch it at the wherever they're going to hold it. So
but Paul's made a name for himself. I mean,
of course. So, it's not anymore a gimmick. He's doing what he needs.
You take him seriously. I'm with you. I'm cool with them. I'm okay with the fact that they made him rank 14th in the world.
Right.
Even though he hasn't got a really legit win yet.
He's
selling me enough, and he is annoying enough where he would draw a good crowd.
This is the best thing. This is the best thing that boxing's done since bringing back Mike Tyson. And I say that, and I say that with a grain of salt, because this is the thing. Like, now you have somebody who connects with young people, right? Younger people.
Yes, he does.
And he's bringing them to view boxing. So by placing them in the top 20, also that means that the people in the top 5 have to think about fighting this guy and taking him serious, and then putting matching up with him.
That was a very close, even though he's somewhat of according to Jack Hirsch, Tommy Fury is somewhat of a novice fighter himself. He's not Tyson Fury.
Right.
But that was a very close fight. That could have went the other way. If you watch the replay of that, which I did, it was very close with him and Paul. I think Paul's pretty good.
Hirsch has a point, and I get where he's coming from. But then again, it's like you got guys like Mayweather and Jones who used to fight back in the day, and Mayweather used to duck fights, and then when there was a big old fight, you were like watching it, and he would fight guys that are past their prime, but they would.
I hated that about Mayweather.
The card was so nice though, because you're like, oh, this guy, he used to be this and that and that, and and all of a sudden he's got like 30. He's had already 30 fights, and is past his prime, and you're like, Mayweather's going in there and doing things, and you're like, oh man, it's not a fight anymore, right? So when he fought Pacquiao, it was like 10 years too late. Those kind of things would just make me so upset about boxing.
Yeah, he equally annoying Mayweather. I've always wanted to see him fight. Who was the guy he fought back in 2007 that we thought was going to be a good fight? The guy was a big fighter in the 90s. What was his name?
Jones?
Spanish guy. Who?
No, not Jones.
Spanish guy. What's his name? De La Hoya. De La Hoya. Yeah. I wanted to fight De La Hoya in like 1999.
That wasn't going to happen.
Fought him in 7. and made us pay for that. And it was just a bunch of walking around, jabbing, walking around. It was boring.
Look, Mayweather is a good fighter. When I say Doug fights and he wasn't fighting people, I'm just going by what I have read. I'm not sure what the situations were when those fights happened. So I just want to not,
Well, he's not lost, so
yeah. It's
hard to criticize a guy like Mayweather when he has not lost. And did he beat Canelo and Triple J? I mean, he's had some good wins.
Yeah. So I mean,
and Paul, by the way, Paul did beat he beat what is it? What was that? What's that other fight thing called?
UFC.
UFC fighter. Did he beat a UFC fighter in a boxing match?
It's Silva, right?
Yes. So I'm just saying, I'm hyped to see Paul fight.
And listen, if I'm Paul and I'm in his camp, if I don't get a fight in the next 3 months, just go to MMA, go to UFC, man. Just go where you can fight.
Well, I'd like to see John Jones come out of retirement fighting. I want to see him fight somebody where he can legitimately potentially get his butt kicked.
I think
he's turning into the white Mayweather, man. Blonde Mayweather, the blonde bomber.
So it's like, to get back to the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. thing. Like I think we all know, and we can all just say that he's known as someone who's had substance abuse issues in the past.
Oh, has he? Okay.
When I say we, I mean,
how close is he to his dad? His dad was a really good fighter.
Yeah, but I feel like they had a
fallout.
A fallout when he was in his like mid-20s. Anyway, so I feel like, and when we talk about I support him, I think it was just something that they didn't have to go that route.
Well, I read it was a Mexican war. It wasn't an American war.
Right.
ICE just executed it.
Right. I just feel like he's an athlete, and if an athlete has an issue in another country, I feel like and they come in here. I feel like that's the Department of Immigration, Department of what is it? The other one, Homeland Security.
Okay.
They need to be like in the situation, like they need to be aware of what's going on. The same thing with Djokovic when the whole thing happened because he had COVID and he couldn't go. Yeah, so it's like,
no, he cannot go back.
No,
Djokovic. I thought you were talking about the player that could not go to Turkey for whatever reason because the government was after him in Turkey.
Oh yeah, like this happened.
Oh, you're talking about the tennis player.
I'm talking about the tennis player when it was COVID and he was coming from Australia, like he didn't go to Open, whatever. Like those kind of things, like, these guys are international athletes, so they have to be able to fly and have to get visas. So these things need to be like taken care of. When they come out to the news and these things happen, it's like, I feel like that's.
Has he got in trouble here too, Chavez? I didn't know a lot about his background.
All I know is that he had a substance abuse issue. And
okay.
I'm not sure if that's
sometimes one thing leads to another when he got substance.
And I'm not sure if that was a thing because he had trained and he was in Las Vegas doing some stuff, and I'm not sure if he had any issues there. So I can't say. I didn't. But what I do want to say this is, like, if you're an international athlete and you have not just your agent, but you need to be aware of what's going on and you need to be able to travel, man. That's part of the deal, right? Like, how are you going to sign a contract of over millions of dollars and then be like, oh well, I can't.
He probably needed the money, I
don't but it's not the thing.
How these guys are. They're going to take a chance. Boxing's always kind of shady, anyways.
Yeah, that's another problem that they haven't been able to fix.
They don't have a commissioner.
Right.
Colin Cowherd talks about that all the time. That's why UFC doing better.
They had Don King as a commissioner for a long time.
Well, Don King will steal from anybody. Wanted to get you this. You okay? We'll talk about the P. Diddy stuff.
As
far as like, my thing is hip hop coincides with sports.
Yes.
A lot. Shaq was a rapper. He had some pretty good raps, though.
Right.
Stephon
Marbury, A1, Kobe Bryant, they all had rap.
Yeah. Master, I think
Master P did basketball.
Hey, Damian Lillard rap.
Yeah, Damian Lillard rap. Master P
P was a basketball player.
Tried out for the Raptors at one point.
I think he played for Houston, but he got injured. University of Houston. And then I think he also almost made like
he was on the Raptors tryout.
Yes. So my thing is he got convicted 2 of the lesser sentences. If you read the stuff on the internet about P. Diddy, some people split. Some people think, well, they're just out to get him. He's a celebrity, blah, blah, blah. Women suing him for money. My thing is, and others think, well, he got a slap on the wrist. But people like Megyn Kelly say, hey, this guy was guilty of all this stuff. That's a woman legal background. You get guys like Clay Travis, man, sports talk guy with a legal background, says he was properly convicted.
Right.
My point to all that stuff is, I'm pretty sure you seem like you're pretty up on your hip hop game too. I've been following the guy since the 90s, early to midnight, more of the mid 90s with Biggie Smalls and all that stuff. My thing is, he's had a reputation of doing shady things, going all the way back to before we even heard of him. I made some notes here. What is it? Back in before 99, the stuff with Jennifer Lopez, but I don't think I screenshotted that one. But we know about him and his bodyguards charged with attacking. That was a different one. Excuse me. That was in April 99. That was another arrest. December 27th of 99, he was arrested on a gun possession charges. He and his girlfriend at the time, J-Lo. We saw this on, I'm sure you remember this, led a shooting that wounded 3 people at a New York City nightclub. Some witnesses tell police Combs was among the people at shooting in the club. The guy claims he was later charged with offering his driver $50,000 to claim ownership of the 9mm handgun.
Right.
And supposedly one of the bodyguards took the rap, but the guy who got shot in the face claims that it was Combs that did it. And those New York City gun laws ain't no joke. He could have went to jail for that. Then you go back farther. Now we go back to my notes with P. Diddy. You get guys like Keefe D. He was a guy arrested for the Tupac stuff. Him and his nephew is the guy that actually pulled the trigger on Tupac going back to 96. He claims in multiple interviews, even though he's a criminal himself, he's currently in jail, former gang member, that Diddy offered him $1 million to kill Suge and Tupac. So that's that allegation. Then you look at guys like Mace, the rapper, says that Diddy got over on him on publishing rights, 20 years, 2 decades of publishing rights that they later made right. So he's kind of got a history of plus there was the incident with his son in the UCLA making a scene there. I want to punch one of the he attacked one of the coaches or something over son. This was a few years ago. So he just has a scene up. My thing is, you want to be a gangster, grew up in Mount Vernon, then he spent a little bit of time in Harlem. Mount Vernon's isn't that more suburban up there?
It's suburban, but they have
they're pretty tough in some spots.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough spot.
Yeah. But my thing is, he's wanting to be a gangster. Forget about all these other sexual assault lawsuits. And what's that chick's name that he kicked in video in 2016? Cassie?
Cassie, yeah.
Of course, the statute. You add all this stuff up, man. We're talking 10, 12 incidents if you count lawsuits, arrests, and this stuff. My thing, you want to be a gangster, you do the crime, do the time. Eventually, you can't just buy yourself out of all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, whatever, if he gets 3 to 5 years, or if he gets like a max 20, but they're saying that's not going to be it. He's already been in there possibly a year after he gets sentenced in October. I'm not the least bit sorry for P. Diddy. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, so
going back, if you want to go back to the 90s, that's fine, man. We got plenty of time left.
I don't think we can go back to the 90s. It's like terrible music exists now because it's a different genre, but different time.
But all that being said, I did love the music.
Yeah.
Even though by the way, did I mention he sampled a lot of music without asking for permission?
Right.
Missing you, seeing you from Sting. They got it squared away. Of course, he had to pay Sting in the police, but
listen, I'm not sure what's going on in our country as far as with the law and the way it works, and it just seems unfair that anybody in his position that wasn't a multi-billion-dollar earner would have been able to get away with all that the way he's gotten away with all those.
Yeah,
and
really good lawyers, man.
Yeah,
really good lawyers.
And I feel like everybody in the industry knew or heard about what was going on, and whether they were part of it or not, that was in their own intentions, and that was on whatever, so because coming from the entertainment business myself, when I did move here in 2006, I was involved in a few events and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you ever see him at any of those events?
Yeah, I was I did a few MTV shows.
Okay.
With Wu-Tang's final album, and we did some promotion stuff for Soulja Boy when he came out.
Soulja Boy.
And then we closed down an event at the Verizon building for MTV. What was that called with Carson Daly?
TRL.
Yeah, we closed down
West Live.
Yeah, when that was back then. So we us people that were involved in doing events and with different artists, we knew about what was going on. Like some people were okay with it, and some people just went the other way or looked the other way. So, but all those things that has happened in the past, and now that they're coming up, it's just amazing that.
Do you think you do think he deserves the time he gets?
Whatever. Anybody else in this situation
may get 20-something years, right?
Would have got 20 plus
or possible life. He got off on a lot of that heavy stuff.
And you know what? And he had his family involved in a lot of things. A few cousins, his sons. What are they going to get in trouble? Probably not.
I don't think so.
The reason he's getting away with all this is because he's a billionaire. He works and has funds in different areas, right? He had vodka, he had Bad Boy Records, he had clothing lines, he had like a bunch of other stuff where he's making millions of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So now that he's in trouble, he was able to pay for somebody to, I guess, get him to the point where he's at now. And is it fair? It's just the way it is. And I feel, like I said, I feel bad for our justice system because, people like that who don't have that kind of money, don't have that kind of lawyers, and it's not just the lawyers, man. Like you said, you did the crime, you got to pay for the time. And it's like, go in, do your time.
Do you think he'll learn his lesson? He's 55 now. He'll probably if he gets 3 years at 58 years old. Do you think he's going to lay low, or you think maybe something else could come up after that?
I think he doesn't have to do anything anymore. Like he's got so much money, and like people will still know.
You don't think he'll come up because R. Kelly got in some trouble, got out of it. Then he got into it again. Now he's still in jail.
Like when you deal with these kind of people who have this kind of psyche, who think they get away with anything, they're always gonna find a way to do something dumb that could put them back into that into prison. So
that's a good point.
I can't.
This Cassie girl wrote the judge a letter saying she didn't want to get out on any kind of bond before sentencing because she's afraid he might send somebody after her.
Right.
Pay him the whatever.
Right. So with all the stuff that has to do with the parties, all the stuff that has to do with the situation with the women situation, all those things that he did as managing a record label, or owning a record label, all those things to do with liquor and fashion, like within all of that stuff, to try to be legit and being able to be a billionaire, and still end up in prison. Fine, do your time, but it's not fair the time he's getting at all. But that's just the way it is.
So you're disappointed that he's getting this light sentence?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in our judicial system, to be honest.
Okay, gotcha.
Like And then I'm also disappointed in people who support him. In a sense,
there are still people that support him. That's wild, man.
And I'm in a sense where like you have your own opinion, you can do what you want, but a lot of people's lives have either disappeared, have changed for the worse, and their talent has been abused.
Yeah.
And that's set a tone for what we see now and what the industry is for the music, and especially in rap and hip hop. So, like, let's just try to turn the page and just try to do things a positive way. Like, it doesn't, and not everything has to be negative. Even if you have rapping about coming from a negative place, you hear all these people that have done positive things in the community, and I feel like that should shine a brighter light than the stuff that's going on with P. Diddy and the stuff that he's done. So
I know, but it's been in the news all week.
And then you got people then shaking and putting themselves in baby oil and recording.
It's Johnson and Johnson. As the stock went up.
Oh my God!
That's like the jokes you're starting to see on the internet.
What's with Robert is that there's guys like our age and older who support him because they grew up with Diddy. You know?
Right.
In a sense of listening.
Would you still listen to the music? Can you separate artists from music?
I mean, we can always do that. I mean, like,
okay.
If you don't, then you don't. Then why are you listening? Music is. I
still listen to R. Kelly music, Michael Jackson music.
I mean, look, Janis Joplin was a drunk. What's his name?
Janis Joplin. Wow, that's an old school. But yeah, she was.
This guy, Jimi Hendrix was, had issues. I mean, all these guys and a lot of these people, Rolling Stones, and all these people in music history have had their own issues and have done things in their lives, and but we don't sometimes worry about that. We just listen to the music because that's what it was, right? So
yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a good point, and we'll see what happens. Maybe other people will learn from P. Diddy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you start listening to R. Kelly and P. Diddy, and then maybe this Jay-Z and whoever else and Beyonce, because they're gonna.
Yeah, I know Jay-Z had some allegation again. Yeah. I had, we went to college together. You know how many Jay-Z CDs I had, rocking it while we was driving back and forth between parties. Oh yeah, you remember, don't you? Show you how to do this, son.
So music is music, man. Music is vital to our livelihoods, but
it's a soundtrack to a time and a place,
Right. So
get you amped up.
It's just sad because all these things are going on in politics and in government. It's just so sad, man. Like my age, and I have kids, and I'm looking to the future. Like I want more positive, more. Things that will
be. Well, guys like Master P, he built up neighborhoods and everything, and he did a lot for the Katrina victims, and that stuff does not get enough play. And we'll talk about that later, but I don't know. This other stuff, it's shocking. It does something to the psyche. Like, you got so much going for you. Why do you want to do this? It's like he just can't find satisfaction just living a normal life with all this success. He got her very young.
Yeah, and the problem is not just being successful, but getting away with things and people not.
Yes,
I think that right there is a bigger. He has no.
Why even try the stuff though? I mean, I guess that's just who he is.
He's contrite. He has no accountability. He's just it's not
no accountability whatsoever. Yeah,
and that's the thing. And then on top of that, he manipulated the law, or the law was manipulated in his favor, and that's just. That.
But wouldn't an incident like the J-Lo thing, a normal person with an incident like that would have woke me up. I know she didn't stay with him too long after that. She kind of got freaked out by that incident.
I didn't say funny, but it's another incident where Plexico Burris shot himself in the leg in a club in New York.
Yeah,
he had to go to trial. I feel like he was in trial longer than P. Diddy was, because P. Diddy they acquitted him. But then Plexico.
I thought he had to do 2 years for that.
Who?
Zero tolerance for the gun.
Who? P. Diddy or Plexico?
Plexico.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
After he did that thing, their laws.
Yeah, people would have killed himself. People would have got a life sentence, man. I'm sorry, I said that joke then, and I thought, how are you gonna shoot yourself and go to jail? They should have cut him some slack for that. I'm still kind of ticked off at that Bluebird.
And he was one of the best players in the Super Bowl. Like,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
But
He said there's zero tolerance with the gun thing.
So Plexico Burress was an all-star athlete who was in $1 million. Had he been an all-star athlete in the billions of dollars and had a different lawyer, he might have be able to get out of that.
But the PSA to people, I have a firearm, I don't keep it loaded. Why? You can never have a loaded firearm in your pants or anything like that.
Person.
Even if you have it in the harness. I've done security for 7 years. We used to do training twice a year with guns and shoot them and all that. I'm telling people right now, gun people may come back at me, say otherwise. I would not load a gun in my harness, even if I would have an empty magazine, have a full magazine in the other, which is the clip, in my other pocket. Never have that's just my thing. I've tried it out because I used to do armed security, private security for myself. And just to see if my harness would get the gun off the safety. And it did every time when I'm sitting around moving with it. So I don't see how a friend of mine, a former Metro police, he said a lot of the guys will go on these nightclubs in Metro and they wouldn't have a loaded firearm on them. They would use empty, and I know why. It's dang, I don't want to shoot myself in the leg, man. I mean, look at Plexico.
Plexico didn't have a harness, man. He just had it in his pocket.
Well, and that's even crazier. It looks great in the movies, but in real life, I mean, that's super dangerous. And it's towards your I mean, anything else you need to plug, man? Hey, we'll get in more topics. Like, I figured this would be a exciting topic. If you're cool with it, I'll send you a text. We'll get into more stuff, hip-hop related things, like especially in the summer when we're in the kind of like this low in sports here.
Yeah, I know. Real quick before I get to the 4th of July stuff and I say goodbye.
Your PSAs, huh?
Yeah, no, R.I.P. Tomota. He's a soccer player, international soccer player from Spain. He died in a car wreck with his brother.
Sorry to hear that.
And he played in Liverpool stuff. So like, just like you never know. But guys, be safe. And sometimes it's not even about you being safe. Sometimes other people put you in a bad situation. Yeah. So just RIP to him. A lot of athletes, even LeBron, who's has tweeted about that today too. So
LeBron did, okay.
Yeah, because he's a part ownership, I believe, of Liverpool. So yeah, man, it's bad. It's great player, terrible tragedy, and I just you guys be safe this 4th of July. If you need to stay the night, get a hotel, call my man, Uber driver.
Yeah, just don't throw up in my car because I will head up Uber to charge you a lot of money for it.
Stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. You can have fun and not be in trouble, man. So just,
exactly. Yes, I used to think you had to get in trouble to have fun, but really, you could still have fun. You could still drink and have fun and not get in trouble. Let me hold on. I got 2 sound offs for you. You got the round. Here's your favorite and a lot of other guys. Hey, we got some hip hop talk in tonight, baby. And the hype up. Thank you, Carlos. I'll see you next week, buddy. And folks, I will see you next week as well. Thanks for listening to the Real Sports Scope. We'll be diving into some other things over the summer. Have a good night, everybody. And like Carlos says, please be careful on 4th of July, not just with the alcohol and stuff, but if you're handling fireworks, please, parents, be careful, especially with your kids. Good night, everybody.